Yeah, so all right. So let's reset. Hey guys, we fit record. Uh it's Friday. Let's see. Weekly challenge day. The first one we're talking about here is going to be Richard Kersey. This was the guy which was the are we really talking to AI or are we really talking to people? He had the really cool kind of site out there. What is it? Cipher, CHIPP or CHIRPPER.com.
Oh, Chirpy or something. Yeah, Chirpy. That
Yeah.
was the one that was the. Yeah, cool. Glad you mentioned that because this is one which we still don't have our invites from there. We got to go track that down. I don't think I have my invite to the site.
Neither do I.
I need to track that down. I think it was one we just need to go sign up. So I need to go. I was sort of waiting for that. I need to take a look into that because that's this will be a fun one.
And this was funny because I don't know if you've been following entertainment at all, but Tilly Norwood, the Scarlett Johansson AI model, popped up again in the news this week. So this kind of works well with this challenge interview that we're or the challenge review we're doing with this one.
Okay, so we're doing a double again today, right? So we're going to do him, and then we're going to do Lath Karthikeya, which is that was a QA. Oh, this is a governance person.
Governance one. That was a good one too.
So okay, so let's dive right into Friday number one. Hello, welcome back. It is a Friday, and we are diving into our weekly challenge. This episode, we were going to talk about, are you talking to AI? Who are you really talking to? This is a fun one. We've got a lot of conversation around it. There's a lot of buzz in the communities I am in about these kinds of things. Had a lot of conversations with advertising people as well, marketing people, and how does this factor in? So this is going to be a fun one. We'll figure out, I'm sure, because we always do, we're going to figure out a really good challenge by the time we get to the end of this. And before we do that, I'll do my, the obligatory introduction. So I am Rob Broadhead, one of the founders of Developreneur, also the founder of Building Better Developers. Also the founder, because those two are actually the same thing, but also the founder of RB Consulting, where we help companies avoid expensive technology mistakes before they happen. So you don't have to get that really expensive bill. We're going to help you dodge that through clarity and ensuring that you have got your organization prepared for whatever it is you're about to do. Good thing and bad thing. Good thing is remote work. It's in being able to remote network and things like that. I had a day yesterday that was full of really great conversations. We'll have links out there somewhere along the way. It's definitely out there on the Developreneur LinkedIn page. You can find some links, or if you go to RB Consulting site, rb-sns.com, you can find on my page, you can find some of these links. I did yet another roundtable for Software Oasis. It was a really interesting discussion. It was around AI and security, and the people that we have on that was just it was really fun. That was a great one to moderate. It was a great one to see where it went, because we had somebody that's really about like the security, IT security person. We had somebody that's more about the human side of it. We had somebody else that was more about building agents and how that works. And those kinds of conversations are great. I love that we can do them. The downside is that, along with one of our weekly things that we do at RB Consulting, pushed me into like past midnight, I think, before I finally wrapped up my day. And that's just not as much fun. But while I'm working on my caffeine, even though it's a decaf tea right now, we're going to let Michael wake up and smell the roses, I guess, as it were.
Yeah, time difference, it makes it fun. Hey, everyone. I'm Michael Mosh. I'm one of the co-founders of Building Better Developers, also known as Developreneur. It's early here. I'm also the founder of Envision QA, where we create reliable, tailored software solutions that help you work smarter, scale faster, and stay in control of your business. We do this through assessments, walking through your workflow, helping you break down the barriers and understand what's going wrong. Good thing, bad thing? I guess kind of both. it's early here. I'm excited to be here. Downside, I've not had enough caffeine yet, so it's just kind of that pulling it together. So if I start really cranking up during these calls, well, you know when I get caffeinated.
And so we know about you and caffeine, but what we don't know necessarily is there AI on the other side of discussion? And is AI screwing up our discussions? This is what we talked about really with Richard Kersey this week and Chirpy, I think it's Chirper. And it's really about the things that we're starting to see. And I've seen some complaints about this recently, like for the last weeks and maybe even months, about people saying, I log into Facebook or LinkedIn particularly, I think, and all I see is all the same kinds of posts. Some of them, which are obviously AI generated, particularly the AI images, we see those every time there's a new release. You see like a new round of images that come out, sort of stylistic stuff that comes out. Interesting thing that we've seen even in ours is we do use AI images. We've got a weekly posting. And it's been interesting that although it's supposed to keep the same people in the image each week, they've gotten grittier as the weeks have gone on. They were a little more cartoonish, and now it's a little more raw. So it's like, which sort of fits the flow, but also it's interesting to see drift in AI when you can visually see drift. Now we'll see it. It happens all the time. It's just in images you get to see it more. So I think it's more jumps out at you than those silent failures that just drift off the mark. That one being said, though, this is a great idea, is the idea of taking a website, a social networking site, and saying, let's get back to discussions. It really goes back to like the old internet days of news groups and stuff like that, is essentially how I felt when I was talking to them, because it's, yes, you still have flame wars and you have people that are, will say stuff virtually they never would face to face, but he even has a little bit of, which we're trying to nail that down. There's a little bit of keeping the flame wars out of it, keeping it not too personal, not too just ridiculously over the top, which sort of defeats the purpose of internet discussions, because let's face it, they all end up that way at some point. And the fact that he wants it to be people, that he doesn't want AI, somebody sitting there, just, an AI bot that's just answering and answering and answering and answering, which can be interesting. You can get a very interesting conversation with AI bots, but then it's not novel ideas, really. You're not going to get those if you don't have humans in the loop. So I think this is a great idea. I love the idea of the site. I have not gotten, as we talked about in the green room beforehand, I have not gotten my invite yet. I need to just go chase the site down and step in and see if I can be, whatever it was, a first person validated trust user, so I can get in and see what it's like. I will probably have that done before this actually goes out. So I may have some interesting stuff that I post on LinkedIn or that we throw out on the Developreneur site between now and then. That being said, I think I've spent enough time in my intro, and let's see what your thoughts are, Michael.
Yeah, this was a great conversation. I really liked his idea. We got bit chaining, we got all these different models. The idea of social chaining, because one of the things about his app to help protect the integrity of the app, to avoid AI creeping in, to make sure that you're talking to people, is he has this kind of algorithm running behind the scenes that is like a social chaining. So if people start feeling that like you're more of a bot, you start getting voted down, or some type of system of indicating, hey, you're a bot, and you essentially drop down. But it's funny because in a way, the whole site model is like top down, right? It's almost like a pyramid kind of structure, pyramid scheme in a way, where the only way you can really get onto the site is to be invited by a person. So a person has to basically vouch that you're a real person. You come onto the site, and then you start working on the site. But if you start misbehaving and throwing a lot of AI bots in there, your score is going to be impacted as well, and you're going to basically move down the credibility that, hey, you're a real person. I thought that was very interesting. And the whole idea of who are we talking to, right? Are we talking to people? Are we talking to AI? Are we just talking to algorithms? Because chatbots aren't always necessarily AI bots, right? Sometimes they're just like a phone queue of, hey, press one for this, press two for this. It's a script that you go through to get to wherever you need to go. And then maybe you talk to someone or you just get more generated content out. In the real world, outside of the internet, we're seeing this more and more. In the news this week, as we're recording this, Tilly Norwood, the AI actress that Hollywood's trying to push as the next Scarlett Johansson, has gotten more and more backlash. Like the Actors Guild is stepping in. They are trying to help regulate this because governance isn't at the moment. Basically, our current government is let AI run. Let's be the best AI country, let's be the best innovators. But we don't have those guardrails in place. And this is just one of those ways that we can build those guardrails and ensure that, hey, here is a way that a business or a entrepreneur could put together a model to help drive people to people communication versus people versus machine or machine versus machine. What are your thoughts?
This is an interesting one because I do think, and I have found that there is actually value with having a conversation with AI, is actually walking through stuff. It is interesting because it is similar to having a conversation with your own inner dialogue where you sort of chew through ideas and things like that. I think there are key concepts that AI can bring up in a conversation because it has this, large library of information that it can draw from. You can find some very key information if you're working it that way. I think the whole idea of, I think it comes down to, was really where we went with this, is it really is understanding what you need to know if you're somebody that cares, and it looks like a large portion don't. Like, people don't trust the media, and yet they listen to the news. They're like, they'll swear by the same media they don't trust. They don't trust politicians, but they will swear by the politicians that they don't trust. So people are lazy. And it's interesting to me that there are even people out there interested in having conversations on a site where they know that it's a human on the other end. Even though, as he mentioned, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything that was all the content generated is from a human. It could be a human driving AI and copy and paste and some things like that, like Grammarly and all these, maybe correcting stuff up, maybe tweaking your words, which to me is actually great because that means you've got a core or a nugget of an idea that a person has put together, and then they've used AI to essentially to communicate it better or slightly differently, or that works within that conversation. And I think that actually moves the ball forward faster. It allows us to be more clear, more direct, sometimes precise and concise, even though, yes, AI doesn't do that. So it becomes a really interesting social experiment as basically as he's putting together. It's like, what does this look like when you start growing it up and these trust chains, which I thought it's a really good use of blockchain technology. I've seen this before with people are trying to use it with views and things like that to make sure that they're like, the opinion that you hear is actually the opinion of that person. It is I don't want to call it valid because AI could actually have valid opinions. It's one of those that where the source is coming from. So now you can tie it back to a person. So I think this is just one of those that's really fascinating. It's a fun little project that he's working on. I'm really interested to see where he goes with it. So thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I got a couple thoughts before we get to the challenge. I want to roll back a little bit because we've talked about this before, and it's a good idea, or it's something people do, is have a conversation with AI and put your thoughts down and kind of work through problems and come up with solutions. And it could be financial, could be social, could be work. But the problem with AI, and we all know this, is privacy. once you put something in an AI bot, you don't know where that information is going, how it's being used, where it's being tracked. With this project that he's working on, he's talked about what was it? He's looking to create the human accountability, but he wants to make sure that he protects the privacy. So the system he's building is around privacy. You invite people can be kicked out, but all the information is protected. The information's not being reused. It's not being put out there. It's all within the system. It's all protected. Whereas, again, with AI, we don't know, right? You're kind of at the mercy of the organizations, whichever bot you're using or LLM.
Well, and it's not privacy as much necessarily. That's another key piece is it's anonymity. And so you get to say whatever you want and you're not actually tied to that thought, which is in itself an interesting thing because people will say stuff. They could be trolls and they're going to say stuff because it doesn't get tied to them, or they could be just normal people, or they could be absolutely insane and putting ideas out there. So it's one of those things that's very interesting to say that. To me, it says that there are which makes sense. There are filters that we have, and that doing these things, maybe more privacy and anonymity, allows us to change those filters. But part of me, sometimes asks, like, do we need those filters to disappear anyways? Because sometimes those filters are useful because they allow us to have a conversation that is more balanced and bound to the real world, as opposed to, well, we could do all of this stuff because it's just people talking. But when you really start to hold somebody's feet to the fire, it's like, well, no, we can't really do that. That doesn't make sense. It's, we have a hard enough time getting hyperbolic in our statements. I don't think we need anonymity to allow us to be more hyperbolic and more extreme in some of the things we say.
Yeah, but we've kind of seen this over the years, right? EverQuest came out, and then you had people having all these online social relationships, getting married in video games. Then you had Second Life come out, and then Sims and all these other things where people are actually living their lives online, or a variation of their lives online, in some form of anonymity. Are we essentially repeating that again now in the AI age?
I think we are. I think that's what we've seen, is that we've seen, some people are very proud, but I saw some lady on the news that had married an AI, chat bot and something like that. She had, like, whatever, and I don't remember where it came from, what created it, but it's, you got people who are very upfront about that kind of stuff. And then you have other people that use it to have a secret life, or some people just use it because they don't like their life. They're sitting there. It's like, was it Ready Player One or some of those kinds of things? There are some of these concepts that come out that are living in the Matrix itself. Like you'd rather be in the Matrix than be bald and sucking up juice or whatever the heck it was in in the machines. So it's interesting because there's a lot of ways you can look at this, and I think what happens will be interesting to see. I have my thoughts on it because this is the way things always happen. The way it progresses is most likely going to be the way things have always progressed from the beginning of time. And so I think this is, again, where we need it. There's value in having these, I'll call them guardrails, but it's really just these basic, very basic constraints about a conversation or a community, and see what happens. I like how he's doing it. I like how he's approaching it. I like that he was very open to a lot of the questions that we asked, that were things where he was like, I haven't really gotten that far. I haven't thought through that. So it's real interesting to see. I think he'll be a fun one to have come back 6 months or a year from now when there's more people, when it's progressed more, and see what his thoughts are and how did he see this grow throughout that time. So I think this is a fun one. It's a fun topic to think about and mull over. Challenge of the week. That's something I do on a moderately regular basis, and so I'm hoping it's not like everybody else is like, yeah, I do that all the time. Take an article, something you're writing, whether it's an email or something like that you're going to compose with AI, and then give it to another AI bot or chat and ask it if it's AI. And if it says it seems like it's AI, then like write it so it's not AI and then send it back to the other bot. Go back and forth a couple times with whatever your favorite 2 chats are, or 3 or 4, and see what happens. Is like see how it evolves. And the really interesting thing is not so much how your content evolves, but getting enough information from the chats. Because don't just say, does it look like AI, but like, why? What is it that looks AI? What is it that makes this feel like it's AI or that it's not? Because those are very interesting tells, I think, in how we communicate, how you communicate when you're writing this. And particularly as you see if you do this and allow the chats to update your content, it'd be really interesting to see how your initial whatever it is you wrote, the email you wrote, eventually evolves after going back and forth between a few AIs. I think this is one of those, it's worthwhile to see how your stuff changes, but also to start seeing some of these tells that say this is most likely AI or it's not, so that you can have a better idea when you're seeing it. Thoughts on that?
I love that idea. And I hope as you go through this exercise, you're also going to see that, well, the first response or second response from AI may seem like, hey, this is perfect. This is a great email. I'll send it out. As you go through this, you're going to start to see that, okay, maybe I need to be a little more thorough. Maybe I need to take a little more time on the email. Well, yes, AI can quickly get it there, and I can quickly get the email out, task done, move on. If it is just a quick email, like a non-trivial email, sure. But if this is like more like a board of directors, a more team meeting, things of that nature, you want to make sure that those communications are clearer and not so AI generated, that you're really thorough with what you're putting together. So this exercise is great for that. And really, like Rob said, push the barrier, ask questions, break it down, and really make AI justify why this is human and not AI speech.
So go out there and be human this week. We appreciate you, all you humans and you chat bats and AIs that are out there that are watching us. Click like, and if you're an AI bot, click it a lot. I guess share it to all your bot friends so we can suddenly have billions of followers. But make sure it doesn't look wrong, so it doesn't blow up our YouTube and Google AIs or all of that kind of stuff. All of the computations they have to say, is this a valid and worthy podcast and YouTube channel, which of course we know it is. Let's face it. We all humans here, we can agree that this is the best YouTube thing that you can see on a given Friday, particularly at this time on this YouTube channel. That being said, I think it's time for us to move on. It's time for you guys to go out there and enjoy your weekend. So go out there and have yourself a great day, great weekend, and we will talk to you next week.